here's how to use the workflow system within the content management system. You'll notice that there's a little workflow slider up here on the top for draft and live edits. So let's show you what that means. If you were to edit a page here and you don't want the content to go live right away, say we add some text and we're just working on this page, you don't want it to be shown public yet. You want to create draft, not update. If you update, it goes live right away, so we create draft. Now you can see here it's in draft mode. If you select the live, you're going to see only what's live to users. So that's a nice way to kind of preview what you're working on. The other options that you'll notice when something is in draft are the buttons along the top of the module have changed. You have an option to reject the changes that were made, request approval, and this little icon simply shows you that there's work in progress. Now, if you're working on a site where you have one person editing and somebody else approving, then the preferred option is to select this little checkbox. This check will then send an email off to the site content administrator to approve or reject the change that was made. The email will include a link to the page, and they'll be able to log in and see what changes were made and if they should approve it or not. If they come to the page and say, I don't like this change, we're going to undo it, they might click this little X, and now that change is gone. Let's make another change here. So the same thing if you want, but if you're just working on the site by yourself, there's really no reason to go through the request and approval process. Once the page looks good, you can simply go back into edit and hit publish. And now this is live to both views. Let's try another test here. So I'm going to make a change on that page, and over here I'm going to add some copy that's brand new. On the About page you can see it's, oops, I accidentally went live with that change. Let's do that. Okay, so we have some pending content updates on the Contact page and the About Us page. Now say you have a large website with hundreds of pages even, and someone is going through and they want to know what is all the work in progress. Where do I need to look? A way you can do that is you go under Administration, and then under Content Workflow. Here you can see the Content Waiting Approval. Now these would be all pages where somebody checked the box for approval, which we haven't done yet. But here's draft page. Oh, because that's not in draft mode, I see. Well, let me go back here. So let me request approval for these two pages. And then go back into Content Workflow, Content Waiting Approval. So under this tab now, as you can see, I requested approval for those two pages, and an administrator could come in and view this page and look and either reject or approve those changes. So I'm going to approve one of them. So then if we came back here, we'd see that the contact page is the only one still pending. Now if I rejected that, right, reject, I think so. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. Not a very good video and I'm not sure there. But let's try this one here. So a draft mode page, if you go under page settings, there's an is draft option. And what this does, however, is hides the entire page from view. So if I were to log out right now, you would not see the contact page because under page settings, the draft is is selected, and therefore if we go under content workflow, draft pages, you're going to see the contact page is a page in draft. So there's different options here. The draft mode is for the entire page itself to hide, whereas the content waiting approval is module based. So that's the module versus the page, if that makes sense. Make another change here. Oh, forgot to request approval. Moving too fast. So there we go, content waiting approval. But by and large, the way that you're going to use this most is for your own editing. You're going to come in here, make changes, save the page as draft, and you can see that it's not live yet by clicking this slider to see live content versus draft content. And then when you're ready to go live, simply go back and edit. Oops. Changes made. You can edit the text and then publish it. So what I did wrong in that case that you'll see is that I requested change for content, which would have then required the content administrator to go in and make those change, make the approval. So if you're just working by yourself on the site, you don't need to do any of that. Just simply use the workflow process of creating draft content and then updating it to go live. But you could also use the workflow admin for yourself, just so that you can keep track of what's all being changed on your website if you have many pages. So I hope that was clear as mud.